The Vorthak had ruled the galaxy for 3 millennia, their obsidian warships cutting through space like cosmic scythes. Standing 12 feet tall on 4 muscular limbs, with exoskeletons that could deflect plasma fire and neural networks capable of processing battle data at superhuman speeds, they were evolution's perfect predators. Their empire stretched across 47 star systems, each conquest adding to their legend of invincibility. Commander Zix Thara stood on the bridge of the Devastator, watching the blue-green world of Earth rotate slowly beneath them. Intelligence reports indicated this planet harbored a primitive species called humans bipedal creatures, who had barely achieved interstellar travel. Their weapons were chemical-based projectiles and crude energy beams. Their ships were clunky metal constructs held together with rivets and welds. Another easy harvest, Zix Thara clicked to her subordinate, War Alpha Keth Mor. These humans won't even provide adequate combat practice for our younglings. The first wave of Vorthak drop pods screamed through Earth's atmosphere, targeting major population centers. New York, London, Tokyo, Mumbai cities that had never witnessed true warfare suddenly found themselves under assault by creatures from their darkest nightmares. The initial response was predictable: panic, scattered military resistance, and calls for surrender from terrified governments. But something unexpected happened in the ruins of Detroit. Colonel Sarah Chen had been studying Vorthak combat footage from other conquered worlds for weeks. While world leaders debated surrender terms, she noticed patterns in the alien tactics. The Vorthak were supremely confident, almost arrogant. They fought with predictable strategies, honed over millennia of facing technologically inferior opponents. They expected fear, chaos, and eventual submission. They didn't expect humanity's greatest weapon, adaptability born from endless conflict with their own kind. "Listen up," Chen addressed her ragtag band of survivors in an abandoned factory. "These things are stronger, faster, and better armored than us. Their weapons can punch through tank armor, but they've never faced anything like us before." She pointed to a tactical display showing Vorthak patrol patterns. They move in standard formations, always maintaining visual contact with support units. They rely on their superior technology and physical advantages. They've never had to innovate because they've never needed to. Chen's plan was audacious. Instead of engaging the Vorthak directly, her teams would use humanity's mastery of guerrilla warfare, hit-and-run attacks, improvised explosives, psychological warfare, and terrain manipulation tactics, forged in Earth's countless conflicts from Vietnam to Afghanistan, from the American Revolution to the resistance movements of World War II. The first human counterattack came at dawn. Vorthak warrior Prime Zendar was leading a standard sweep through the ruins when the ground beneath his unit exploded. But it wasn't a conventional bomb. Humans had weaponized their own infrastructure. Sewer systems became delivery mechanisms for improvised chemical weapons. Subway tunnels became kill zones, filled with crossfires from multiple angles. Even children's toys were converted into remote-controlled explosives. Zendar's exoskeleton saved him from the initial blast, but what followed defied all Vorthak understanding of warfare. The humans didn't stand and fight like honorable warriors. They struck from shadows, from impossible angles, using the urban environment as an extension of their own bodies. When his unit moved to pursue, they found themselves separated by collapsed buildings and redirected through pre-planned routes lined with more traps. "This is not warfare," Zendar transmitted to the Devastator. "This is chaos incarnate." But Chen's real masterstroke was psychological. The Vorthak had never encountered an enemy that refused to acknowledge defeat. Every other species had eventually recognized Vorthak superiority and submitted. Humans simply wouldn't stop fighting, even when victory seemed impossible. In London, a group of engineers led by Dr. James Harrison had been reverse engineering captured Vorthak technology While the aliens relied on their standardized equipment, humans began jury-rigging hybrid weapons that combined Earth manufacturing techniques with alien principles. Plasma rifles powered by car batteries. Electromagnetic pulse devices built from microwave ovens. Armor-piercing rounds crafted from melted-down alien hull fragments. The Vorthak found themselves facing weapons they couldn't predict or counter, built by a species that treated desperate innovation as naturally as breathing. 3 months into the occupation, Zixthara received reports that chilled her predatory instincts. Vorthak casualties were mounting not from superior firepower, but from an enemy that simply refused to fight by any recognizable rules. Humans used everything, biological warfare created from their own diseases that Vorthak immune systems couldn't handle, cyber attacks that exploited vulnerabilities in alien computer systems, even domesticated animals trained as living weapons. The breaking point came during the Battle of the Australian Outback. A full Vorthak regiment, confident in their mobility and firepower advantages, pursued what appeared to be a fleeing human convoy into the desert. They found themselves trapped in a killing field that stretched for hundreds of miles. Humans had spent weeks preparing the terrain, creating a maze of underground tunnels, camouflaged positions, and carefully placed charges that could alter the landscape itself. For the first time in 3,000 years, an entire Vorthak regiment was completely annihilated by an enemy they had dismissed as primitive. The final confrontation occurred in Earth's orbital space. Zixthara, driven by desperation and wounded pride, ordered a direct assault on the human command bunker hidden beneath the Rocky Mountains. She expected to find cowering leaders begging for mercy. Instead, she found Sarah Chen calmly monitoring a tactical display showing Vorthak fleet positions. "You're learning," Chen said without turning around. "But we've been learning faster." The display revealed the truth. While the Vorthak had been focused on ground operations, humans had been launching thousands of tiny satellites, not weapons, but communication relays and sensor networks. They had turned Earth's entire orbital space into a surveillance grid. Every Vorthak ship movement had been tracked, analyzed, and countered. As Zixthara raised her plasma weapon, Chen smiled. "We've been fighting each other for our entire history. Every weapon, every tactic, every dirty trick, we invented them fighting ourselves. You're just the first aliens unlucky enough to find out what happens when humanity stops fighting itself and starts fighting you." The evacuation of Earth began 3 days later. For the first time in their history, the Vorthak retreated from a world they couldn't conquer. As their ships fled beyond the solar system, one transmission echoed across their fleet. Species designation: human. Status: avoid at all costs. Humanity had entered the galactic stage, not as victims, but as the one thing the universe's apex predators had never encountered, a species that had made an art form of warfare itself.